make up 47.7% of the Malaysian population. So where do women stand today, and what does our future look like? Hello everyone, we are so excited to welcome you to our very first episode of Women Talk. And we're going to be kickstarting this season talking about celebrating victories for all women. I'm Deborah Henry and my lovely co-host.
Welcome everyone, my name is Zoraya Vadillo and it is an absolute pleasure to be here with all of you. And I'd also like to introduce two fantastic guests that we have today. Datuk Nicol, David, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. And Datuk Noor, Farida, Ariffin, thank you so much for joining us today as well.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, and we're so happy to have both of you lovely ladies here to kickstart. This is our very first episode,
yes,
so
the first one.
Excited and can't wait to dig in. But we're talking about celebrating victories, and I think we couldn't think of two better individuals like yourselves. Nicol, we've been friends for a little while now, and you are a victory to all of us. One of the world's greatest athletes.
Yes.
We're all like in awe and so inspired.
8 times world champion.
I mean,
that's
to all of us. I
something.
mean, to our country, to sports, to women, and everyone goes, "You're so victorious." What does that feel like? Like being called that, and something you have to live up to, and I guess over the years, because you've been in the sport for many years.
Yeah, don't
remind
my age too far. No,
you're still a youngster.
Thanks, I'll take that. But thanks so much. I mean, really, to actually get that recognition, I feel truly honored, and it's very humbling to know that so many people recognize me as what I've done, and I sometimes still forget, all this is a reality for me, and it was a dream, but now all is coming to reality, and I never thought this was going to happen in my entire life.
I mean, it takes a lot of hard work that people don't even realize how much time you put into it and how much you sacrificed, you know?
Yeah, but it all paid off, and that's why I'm so happy to be a Malaysian woman here, getting all the support and love from everyone, and all these amazing women here too.
Yeah.
And Datuk Farida, I mean, you were in public service for 36 years and a Malaysian ambassador, and I mean, you took leaps and steps forward for women. What was that like for you?
Not easy, I'm sure.
No, not easy. But luckily, we have a lot of women. At least 40% of diplomatic staff and of ambassadors, Malaysian ambassadors, are women.
Amazing.
Which is good. Which is amazing. It's very, very good. The women has the recognition, We're still waiting for a woman KSU, though, for Wisma Putra and other ministries as well. Though we did have a woman KSU. If you remember Rebecca Santa Maria,
yes, I remember.
Santa Maria, she was the one and only KSU of MITI, At that time, Tan Sri Farida Aziz was the minister, MITI minister. She was a trailblazer for women. But for me, yes, it was great satisfaction, working for Wisma Putra, for the Foreign Ministry.
I mean, it's an amazing achievement. And I want to ask both of you, what does it mean, actually, women achievement? What does that word or statement actually mean to you?
I mean, victory, right? What does victory mean?
I think victory is really about something that you feel that you belong, and then you can conquer it. And I think that's truly, we have so many potential women here that can do what they do best and have proven achievements in so many areas.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I think a lot of women at home watching, they'd be thinking, look at these amazing women sitting here, they've achieved so much. Who am I? I'm just sitting at home. I'm not, what have I done in my life? What do we say to these women? Because victory is not, it's not the fame and the fortune. What is true victory?
Yeah, exactly. True victory is doing what you do best,
Exactly.
Even if you are a homemaker, if you're a good homemaker, it's also victory.
Exactly.
Just doing what is best for you and for your family, and for your family, your community, and your country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Never feel that they are downtrodden or that they have not achieved anything just because they are homemakers, Because that is a very, very important role for women to play as well. I mean, to bring up children to be decent human beings is a very great achievement, I think.
I mean, as someone who grew up overseas, I find it incredible having moved here and realized there are so many women in high professional positions with very high education, but they're also mothers of not just one child, but sometimes 3 or 4 before, and that is incredible for Malaysian
because women are so good at multitasking, you know.
Yes.
Unlike men, for example.
Skill. And also we look to the West a lot. I think growing up in Asia, we look to the West and think that they figured it all out. They've got it sorted. Both of you have lived in the West long enough to know that that is not the case, right?
Exactly. I think we have achieved more than most Western women, you know.
Yes. Wow. I would agree.
I think so, exactly. Except in one area, Parliament. We only have 32 women, which makes up only miserable 14% of parliamentarians. I think we need to do better because we have regressed in that respect.
And I believe that with women, if we are just given one opportunity, we can make the difference. We can actually strive forward.
That's right.
I had the opportunity to play squash because in Penang, there was a public squash center that was built, and my dad signed me up. So I took that opportunity and made it for my own good. And I think if you give that one opportunity for women to grab onto, you can do wonders.
Amazing.
Yeah. On your point, Nicol, you're talking about this keyword I find so important, opportunity. And we're sitting here with trailblazers, but do all other Malaysian women have that equal opportunity to succeed? We're going to find out when we come back after this break.
I think women absolutely have a fair chance in Malaysia. Women are playing a much bigger role than they give themselves credit for. They just maybe haven't been made a big deal of enough.
Yeah, women have fair chance. If they want to find opportunity, they have fair chance to be in a position where they want to be.
I think Malaysia has made such incredible strides when it comes to progress. So many more women in the workplace and all different sorts of industries, women who are experts, but still the gender bias remains.
Well, I think our guests have actually made some fair points. But the point I picked up on was if they want the opportunity, it is there. Do we have to go hunting and searching for it?
No. The opportunities are there, definitely there. But it's just sometimes you encounter the male prejudices. So you really have to break the glass ceiling. The glass ceiling is still there, unfortunately. But luckily, government has taken steps. Like for the corporate sector, the government has instructed that they must have at least 30% women on their boards, you know, of public listed companies.
Dr. Nicol, when it comes to sports, do you see that women are given opportunities when it comes to pushing in sports?
Unfortunately, there are some at high decision-making positions, not so much. The study showed that over 90% decision-making and leadership positions all held by men, and we still have areas to really improve and make that happen for more women to have those opportunities at a higher level.
Yeah, well, that's interesting you say that because the statistic that I was reading, and numbers, we like numbers, they're good, but they can be misleading, right, sometimes. But it says that women make up 40% of senior management in Malaysian companies. So it's actually been on the rise, especially around COVID.
That's great.
But you're saying that you don't quite feel this in some ways. So sometimes we say that women are there, but are they really making those key decisions?
Yeah, I think because I'm seeking for more the sports side, and I'm so glad and proud that Malaysian women are actually going up in so many ways, like in the percentage that you just mentioned. But I think in the sports world, there's still so much room for improvement.
Even in the Dewan Rakyat, 38.2% of those in decision-making positions in government agencies are women. So there is a change happening, and there is, women in high positions. But is it enough? Is it enough to be a victory?
No, I don't think it's quite enough. I mean, we still need to improve, in this area, in the various areas, civil service, the corporate sector, and so on, and government agencies. But what is good news is that now JAKIM has got a woman CEO, finally.
Oh, interesting. Well, it's interesting because when we, a lot of people home are thinking, what's the big deal having women in decision-making positions, right? And we often forget that if it is only male there, they cannot know what women go through.
And
exactly.
We're so inbuilt to be nurturing and caring.
That's right. We are.
Most of the NGOs in Malaysia are all headed and founded by women.
But it's like for you, Nicol, you very recently come back to Malaysia. You spent 2 decades overseas, right?
Yes.
And you've also started your own foundation. Can you tell us about that, what you're doing, and you're really trying to help marginalized kids, but across the country, right, through sport?
Yes, I'm very glad to actually be launching my foundation, which is the Nicol David organization in June. I'm looking really on the inclusivity of just having both girls and boys to empower them through sport and education. So I'm going to have squash training and English tutoring classes for them so that they build holistically. But initially, I wanted to just focus on the girls. But if you're talking about inclusion, you can't leave the boys out of the picture.
That's true. That's true.
So hence, that's why I grew up training with boys, like my two older sisters and all boys. And and that was the difference of you had to connect with one another, how to respect each other and learn to build together.
We're going to just quickly take a look at this video now of a lady in a what you could consider to be typically quite a man's world. Datuk Rabaya Abdul Ghani. She's a woman who paved the way for many other police women in the higher ranks in our police force. Let's take a look.
I'm Datuk Rabaya Abdul Ghani, and I served the police force for 39 over years before I retired. I joined the police force in 1971, and then I was posted as an IO in Ipoh, Perak. When they established the Women Field Force, I was placed there, and I served in Police Field Force for about 7 years before I got my promotion to ASP. Then I was transferred to Pengacara. I served various branches in Pengacara, in the narcotics, in management, in CID. And this where all I got my promotion until the rank of Senior Assistant Commissioner 1. My last post in Pengacara was Senior Assistant Commissioner, where I was the Deputy Director Management. And then that's why I was transferred to Pahang as the Deputy Chief Police Officer. When the Chief Police Officer retired, I was given the honour to lead Pahang State as the first woman Chief Police Officer. And then I got promotion again, and I was transferred to Pengacara as Director Management, where I retired as Director Management in 2011. The first batch of women police was in 1955. There were only 7 women officers. So if you were to compare from year to year, until now, there's leaps and bounds for the women police, and anybody can become an officer or rank file to join the police force. So it is a real landmark for us.
Wow, I'm just blown away.
I just. But they've got very good women officers, police officers, in the force.
But it just shows how important it is to have women officers as well for all of these roles that we don't think about, but actually they're necessary.
Exactly.
And I think often it sounds a bit cliche when you look at a woman in a man's world, but I'm imagining. For Dato, when she entered the police force, this was a time when it was so male dominated, and just to stand out, to work hard, to be determined, as you say, Nicol, and to rise to the top. That's pretty amazing. But we're going to take another quick break now. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about women's rights, advocacy, and what people out there are actually doing to advance the needs of women in our country. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Women Talk, where we are chatting with Datuk Nicol and Datuk Farida about Victories for Women. So here's another statistic. We're saying that men in Malaysia, the population is 4.7% more than women. So we're well on our way to achieving equal representation according to the numbers that we talked about earlier. But Datuk Farida, is equal representation the goal? Does that mean we've sorted out all the problems, we can tick the box and go home?
No, not at all. But we have achieved a lot, though, in terms of legislation which benefit women. For example, because of pressure from women's groups like the NCWO, the Gender Equality, the JED, Joint Action Group for Gender Equality, we've had, government legislated on the Law Reform Marriage and Divorce Act for non-Muslims, which has abolished polygamy. And even for traditional marriages, they must be conducted in a church or a temple or whatever before a registrar. So no more, taking second, third, fourth, five wives for non-Muslim men.
There are so many women's NGOs out there, and they've really put pressure to get things done. And what I'm seeing now is that you see a lot more young people starting initiatives using social media, social media to really initiate that. Is that what you're kind of doing, Nicol, as well, trying to mobilize the youth?
Actually, to be honest, my foundation is actually going to be run by university students.
Oh, wow.
So teachers and the coaches are going to be university students. So we're going to recruit them to give them that sense of self-worth, that they can actually do something while they're studying and not wait till late. So I'll be the head coach overseeing the program and to guide them to be coaches. And who knows, we can get like amazing boy or girl coach, and they are going to be educating the next generation.
It's an amazing thing you're doing.
That's amazing.
I can't wait to see it.
Success.
Yes, I'm so excited, really. I can't wait.
And I know, Datuk, Farida, you were mentioning about JAG earlier, so we're going to watch this video on JAG. They're known as the Joint Action Group for Gender Equality, and they're really doing interesting things. They actually held Malaysia's very first tribunal here. So if you don't know what it is, if you don't know why it's important, let's take a look.
Now, the Women's Tribunal is not a new idea. I mean, it is a very old idea that began in the 70s and 80s by the global women's movement. Basically, it means bringing women together, and they give testimonies. They share their stories, their personal experience of their violations that they have faced, to convince the world, to convince the government, to convince the UN that these forms of discrimination actually exist. I mean, we know all about domestic violence, rape, and sexual harassment. That's very much, it's in the public eye. But we made sure we went out all over Malaysia to bring in rural women in.
That's amazing. I mean, that just goes to show how important it is to give women a platform to use their voice and speak.
That was an excellent idea. It's brilliant. Ivy, Josiah, and I were the ones who started Women's Aid Organization.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
I didn't know that. That's incredible.
We go back a long way.
WAO have done so much.
Yes, they have. Now they even have 3 centres, and one for battered children as well.
Wow.
Yeah, and they also provide education for them and so on.
I've had a chance to actually go to with the UNDP ambassador role that I've had before. I had a chance to go to the rural areas, and you can tell, the women have to be heard, but they don't have a platform, and something like this is truly a great platform for them to voice out their issues.
And speaking about it is also, in a sense, like a kind of therapy for yourself. Just to have someone else listen to what you're going through, it gives you a recognition that what you feel is actually matters.
And they are brave enough to talk about it. I think that's the key.
It was wonderful.
Wow. Ladies, you are 2 very formidable women to share your stories with us, your journeys, and what you consider to be victories for our country. I think it's so important to recognize the good, but also work on what else needs to be done. Would you like to maybe just share something with those at home watching?
Your last thoughts about Victories for Women.
Well, being a legally trained person, for me, it's a lot of reform needs to be done. For example, we've got a lot of laws have been passed which benefit women, but we also need to pass the Gender Equality Act, also the Sexual Harassment Act, a very comprehensive Sexual Harassment Act which will protect whistleblowers, which protect women, and which will protect whoever are the victims of abuse, of sexual harassment.
And I feel that after hearing all the stories, and also we have to just continue to celebrate women, our Malaysian women, and recognize what they've done, all their achievements, and no matter how big or how small, everybody plays a role.
It's so important to remember that actually it's being true to ourselves as women. That is a victory in itself. Being a mother, being a woman, being a boss, being an employee. It's being true to who you are, and that is really the biggest victory. If you can achieve that in your life, you are victorious all the time.
Platforms, possibilities, opportunities to be whoever you want to be, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And I think we're all here because we think about that next generation. We think about that generation of boys and girls who come after us. And we all want to build a better country, a better home for them. So thank you so much, ladies, for joining us today on Women Talk.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to have the both of you.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And thanks so much for having us.
Thank you. And thank you to all of you at home who've tuned in.
Yes.
We hope you've got little nuggets of wisdom to help you out, friends, your family, your children. And don't forget, as Datuk Nicol said, like, keep celebrating each other. Big, little victories. They all count. They all matter. I'm Deborah Henry.
And I'm Zoraya Vadillo, and we'd love to hear from all of you, so reach out to us on Instagram and let us know what you think about this episode and what else you'd like to hear about it and if we missed out on any important points.
Okay.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.